Hey guys, it's Hannah Hearts Book 6, and today I'm going to be telling you the books that I've read recently. I haven't finished a book for myself since whatever Labor Day was, and that was like a cozy mystery book, but before that I hadn't finished a book since like April. But I read books in my classroom all the time, so I decided to include those in these wrap-ups because I think they're fun to learn about, like what does a first grade teacher read to her students? So that's what I'm going to tell you about today. So I will start with the first day of school. And the first day of school, we read First Day Jitters by Julie Danneberg. And basically it's this book where, if you haven't read it, I'm going to spoil it for you, but it's super cute. And it's basically about this character who we don't know what their role is in this story. But at the beginning you assume it's a student. And it's like their parents are trying to like get them up and like get them ready for school, but they're really nervous. But then at the end you find out it's actually the teacher who is nervous. And so it's kind of fun because it really like puts a twist on like the first day of school kind of stories. And like, yes, the kids are nervous, but it also shows the kids that like the teachers are nervous too. And I really liked that. And then we got to drink Jitter Juice, which was it was Sprite and green Hawaiian Punch, and one of my kids spilled it, so that was great. And then also one of my kids was like, oh, she's giving us Mountain Dew, and I was like, oh no, I would never give first graders Mountain Dew. So that was a fun experience, and my mom always read that to her kids on the first day of school, so I really liked that I got to do that. The next book that I read was On the First Day of First Grade by Tish Rabe. On the first day of first grade, we did blah, 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 and played and had lots of fun. And then it keeps going, and it's like a pattern, and it keeps going and going and going. And the kids were like, you're repeating what you're saying. And I'm like, yeah, that's the point of the book. And it wasn't my favorite book that I've ever read, but it was okay. The next book we read as a class was Junie B Jones, because if you've ever been in first grade, Junie B Jones is a hit because first of all, she's loudmouth, second of all, she's rude, and third of all, she's hilarious. And so the kids, like, they are gasping all the time. Well, first of all, one of the books that we read, the vocab word was gasp, so now they gasp all the time whenever she says things because she says a lot of gasp-worthy things. We have read Junie B Jones and the Stupid Smelly Bus, and that one, if you've never read it, is basically she's going to kindergarten, and it's her description of kindergarten is like where you go and play and can't watch TV or something, and it's like hilarious. And then basically she has to ride this bus, and she hates the bus. Then by the end of it, she meets her bestest friend, that Grace, because she talks about that Grace. And then she also talks about that gym she hates, which is hilarious. So my kids just get a kick out of Junie B. The second Junie B Jones book, because I'm just reading them Junie B Jones because they love it so much that I'm like, I'm not going to really, like, we're not going to test the waters until I get bored. And so we finished also Junie B Jones in a Little Monkey Business, which is the second book. And basically in the Little Monkey Business, she finds out that her mom is pregnant and is going to have a baby. Yeah, so she finds out she has a brother, and then in the course of the book, her grandma comes home from the hospital after her mom has had the baby, and she's like, oh, he's just the cutest little monkey. And so she goes to school and tells every single person in her class that she has a monkey brother. And basically she's like, oh, well, who's gonna be the first one to get to see my monkey brother? And her two best friends, Lucille and Grace, basically end up giving her all of their possessions to like prove that they get to see like the baby first. And then she gets pulled into the principal's office, and like they have to call the grandma and be like, no, they just like said he was cute, like he's not really a monkey. And then it was just hilarious. She also gets a boyfriend in that book because he thinks her monkey brother's really cool, and his name's Ricardo, and the kids were like, what? It was hilarious. And then the other Junie B Jones book that we just finished this week is Junie B Jones and Her Big Fat Mouth. And in this one, they are having career day, and she's like, well, I can't go to career day because I don't know what that damn word means. And the kids are like, what? And so she is just a hot mess. And there was one day where I was like, guys, we like Junie B Jones, but we don't act like Junie B Jones, which is so true. One of the books I read to them while we had extra time one day was Dragons Love Tacos. It's a great children's book. It's just so silly. I read it for the first time with one of my tutoring students and absolutely freaking loved it. I laughed out loud because I had no idea what was happening, but basically it's a book about dragons who love tacos, but they hate spicy salsa, and then they accidentally eat spicy salsa and they burn a house down, and it's really cute. And one of my favorite lines is something along the lines of like, maybe they helped clean up the house because they're the ones that burned it down, but maybe it's just because they're nice. And it was just super cute. The other one that I just finished with my like group of car riders, because we have car riders, walkers, and bus riders, and I take care of the car riders, and I read them The Day the Crayons Quit, which is one of my favorite books of all time. It's great to teach point of view because it's written from the point of view of a crayon, and they're writing to their owner named Duncan, and they are telling Duncan all their grievances about being a crayon, and yellow and orange are arguing over being the true color of the sun. The peach crayon is upset because he's naked because he spilled all his paper off. And so it's a really fun book, and the kids love it every time because I read it in like such expressive, like angry voices, because the crayons just have such a expressive like tone written there. So it's really great. It's by Drew J. Walt, and yeah, really love that one. I think that's all the ones that like are separate from our curriculum. I also have 4 books from our curriculum. We use Really Great Reading, and there are 4 books that we read so far, and one is School's First Day of School, and it's basically the first day of school from the school's point of view. And there are like 3 characters: the school, the janitor, and like this girl with freckles. And the girl with freckles doesn't like school, and one of my favorite lines, which was really sad but cute, is she's like, I really don't like school, and it says, well, maybe it doesn't like you either. And so it was really cute, and the kids loved it, and it's on display in our library, and the kids absolutely love to be like, Mrs. Curtis, school's first day of school is up there. I wish that I was a yellow so I could read it. But they're like all red with like a white dot, or just plain red with Lexile colors, and it's just so cute. And then the next book we read is Sylvie, and it's about a flamingo who changes color with everything she eats. So she eats a swimsuit, and she turns paisley, and the kids had no idea what paisley was. So I was like, guys, it's a pattern. And so then at the end of the week, after we read it like 3 times, I was like, okay, what color is this swimsuit? And one of my kids goes, paisley, and it was super cute. And then like he turned blue, or she turned blue, and she ate the color of the sky. But then she realizes that she doesn't look the same as her family, so she goes back to eating the shrimp, which make her pink, which is super cute. And then the next book we read is The Bad Seed, and flipping love The Bad Seed. The kids love The Bad Seed too. But basically it's about this seed who he does a lot of bad things, and he tells the story of how he became bad. And it's basically he fell off his sunflower, landed in a sunflower seed bag, almost got eaten, and he like decides to be really mean because he was torn and tattered by the world. But then at the end he decides to be a good seed. But it's just like telling the kids that like just because you make bad choices doesn't mean you're a bad seed. And also just because you are a good person doesn't mean you always make the right choices. Or sometimes I still do these bad things, but now I hold the door open for people, not always, but sometimes. And of course that made me teary because it was just so sweet. And the kids really just need to learn that skill of like, it's okay, like you're not a bad person, you just make bad choices. And all week when I would do something like they would make a bad choice, I'd be like, okay, you're not a bad seed, but you did make a bad choice. And so it was pretty great. And then the last book that we've read so far, the one that we finished this week, is Nerdy Birdie, and it's by Erin Reynolds, and I freaking love Nerdy Birdie. Basically, Nerdy Birdie is about this bird who his glasses are too big and his wings are too small, and he's got eagle, robin, and cardinal, and they just like don't want to hang out with him because they don't think he's very cool. But he ends up finding a whole crew of nerdy birdies that want to hang out with him, and they're just like him, and they like to read and play video games and stuff. And they have like World of Warcraft instead of World of Warcraft, and it's so cute. They had a lightsaber, and I remember one kid being like, why does they have a, they're like, what is that? And they're like, why do they have a lightsaber? And I was like, because like nerdy people have lightsabers. So that was really funny. And then also later on in the book, he like has been accepted by the nerdy birdies, and then this vulture comes along, and the eagle, robin, and cardinal don't like the vulture either, and Nerdy Birdie's like, oh, you can hang out with us because there's always room for another nerdy birdie, right? And then all the nerdy birdies are like, hold it, he's not like us. And so basically Nerdy Birdie decides that it's really lonely being alone, so he decides to befriend vulture. And it talks about how you can be friends with people, but you don't have to necessarily like all the same things. So I used the example of me and my husband, and I was like, well, me and Mr. Curtis, like like we don't like all the same things, but we do like each other. And so they create their own group, and then at the end it says there's always room for another birdie, and it was just really sweet. And then the last book that I read like on my own, not with my class, was Chilean Corpses by by Ellery Adams. Also, I think originally it was written under J.B. Stanley, which is, I think, like a pseudonym that she uses, but it's in the Supper Club Mysteries. And basically they take this like chili cooking class because they're like bored with their like eating healthy all the time, so they just like take this class to like, you know, eat frivolously for once a month. And then basically these two twin girls come to town, and they're friends with Murphy, the news reporter person, and one of them works at the school, and Lindy, who's one of the supper club members, works at she's a teacher at the school, and she gathers all these people up to be volunteers for this cave field trip. And the twin girl who works at the school isn't able to go, so the other twin goes. And basically they're at the cave, and there's this like weird man named Mr. Sneed who like claims to be one of the kids' grandpas, and he like disappears, and then the girl gets killed. And it was a lot, but it's a fun book, and I love the Supper Club Mysteries. That was my, I think, third or fourth one that I've read, and I really liked it. So the ending was good. I was not expecting it, because the last one that I read, kind of like the ending like just kind of came out of nowhere, but this one actually made a lot of sense. And I was not able to predict the murderer. I mean, pretty much by the end I was understanding of what was happening. So those are the books that I've read recently. You probably know way more about Junie B Jones than you ever wanted to know, but that's okay. We love Junie B Jones. But anyway, if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below a book that you've read recently, or comment down below the book that was your favorite when you were in elementary school that your teacher read to you. But anyway, hope you guys enjoy your read, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.